Before we go any further, what you hear on this podcast is our perspective as CRNAs. It's not medical advice and it doesn't speak for any hospital or employer. We're just two providers having the conversations we think need to happen.
All right. Real question.
Okay, shoot.
Would you do it again?
Ooh. I think the answer to that is a little more complicated. I think I got to take you to the beginning. We got to go back.
All right, let's go. Let's go to the beginning. Let's do it.
Do it.
Welcome to Clock Out and Connect, the podcast about what everybody's thinking, but no one's saying.
I'm Shantall, CRNA, mom, wife, and professional worst case scenario planner.
And I'm Marc, a CRNA, dad, and the guy who makes the hard calls before most people finish their coffee.
We work in high pressure environments by day and come home to real life, family, ambition, and everything in between.
If you're thinking it, we're talking about it.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode 1 of our new podcast. We are so glad to have you here. Please make sure to follow and subscribe to make sure you don't miss a single episode. So we wanted to use this episode to tell you a little bit about ourselves, and I'm going to go ahead and get things started. I was born in Dominican Republic. My family and I moved to the U.S., specifically to South Florida, when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. Shout out to West Palm. All my friends out there, we miss you. But I had a pretty ordinary childhood. And at 17, I decided I wanted to join the military. So I had to convince my mom. My dad got him on board pretty quick, ironically. But my mom, I had to convince her because I wasn't old enough to legally consent to sign up for the Army. How you make that decision at 17, I don't even know where that came from, but I knew I wasn't ready for college, and I had a friend that had joined and was having a good experience. So I thought, hey, why not? It's a good way to serve my country. And who knows, let's see, travel, and you never know what else. So I joined. I actually was a paralegal when I enlisted the first time, and I got to go to basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. After all of my training there, I got to go to Germany. First luck assignment choice. I don't know how that happened.
Wow, that's sweet. 17 or 18 you were at that time?
I think I turned 18 in basic training.
Wow, yep. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Because hold on, what's the drinking age in Germany? 18, right?
I think it's 16 actually, or it was back.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I ship off to Germany, young, naive. I don't know anything about the world, but I find really good friends along the way. And I learned a lot of hard lessons, obviously, but I get to go to Germany, assigned to a unit, first ID in Berg, Germany. It was the coolest assignment. I'm not even going to lie. A brand new 18-year-old making friends out there, living the life, traveling Europe. It was amazing. And then duty calls, right? That was around Operation Iraqi Freedom time, just after Afghanistan. And so I was slated to deploy to Iraq. I think I was maybe 18 or 19 at that time. And off we go. That was one of the first really life-changing experiences I had, in the sense that just seeing the level of poverty that some people were living in there, it was just so eye-opening. You don't realize the bubble you're living in growing up in the US in the middle class. It's just something you're exposed to. So that was really something that was really engraved in my head, what that looked like. But I was assigned to FOB Danger and to Crit. And since I was a paralegal, our job was a lot of legal things, but namely investigations into anything that was going on. And we were also taking care of the claims that a lot of the local nationals would bring against us if, unfortunately, their house got bombed out, or they lost cattle, or one of their family members injured. Yeah, we would see just some really horrific things come through, and they would come and claim, and we would pay them money. And it was so transactional. Looking back on that now, it's just insane to really think about that in that way.
Well, hold on. Let's pause that for a little bit, because first of all, I have a few questions. So now you're 18, you're in a foreign country, you left your mom and dad and everybody that you know, right? Yeah. And you're with these new people and all these crazy things are happening. A few things come across in my head right now. I'm like, okay, are you afraid? I know you're trying to be brave. Are you afraid? How do you feel? And then also, you're probably one of not so many women, right?
Correct.
And another question, this is loaded because I'm going to forget. And also, how do you think that seeing all these casualties maybe have even prepared you for what you would do now, like what we're doing now. So all those things came in my head. Anyway, or
Okay.
answer in whatever order you'd like.
Okay. So the first one's easy. I wasn't scared because I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know so many things.
Isn't it nice sometimes you don't know things? Oh my God. Anyway.
Right. No, really, it was a blessing back then. But for instance, since on that other question of one of the few women there, yeah, no, there weren't a lot of women out there. So I was assigned frequently to the gate duty to pat down any women that were coming in through the gate. So we had to do a security check on everybody. But obviously, culturally, men couldn't touch women there. So they would need us to pat down anyone who's coming through the gate and make sure that they didn't have any explosives or anything, weapons or whatever.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So they would put us in this cement block, basically four walls made out of cement, and we'd have two like gunmen pointing inward, and I'm inside in the middle of this box. And so is the person I'm checking. And I like it literally didn't dawn on me until I'm into my late 20s, perhaps, what that really meant. If that person had something that could hurt us, I'm going with her.
Right.
It just didn't
Right.
cross my mind at all. It was so naive. It's like unbelievable how I just didn't put it together. So therefore I wasn't scared. I'm not naturally scared of people in general, especially other cultures, other people. So like it just didn't cross my mind.
Yeah.
And then the seeing of casualties and injured people, it's so funny because at the time it didn't prompt me to go into healthcare or anything like that. But looking back on it, it makes sense of why I eventually did because just giving people money for some things that money will never fix, right? It'll never erase what happened. It
Right.
just never felt like it was enough. So for me now, I feel like I'm able to give back a lot more in healthcare because I can actually sometimes see results of the care that we give. Yeah, I don't know. It's just looking back at all of that, it's wild when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm like imagining an 18-year-old Shantall out there doing her thing. That's crazy. Like for me, growing up from the Caribbean, especially my mom immigrating here when we were younger, that's the one thing she did not want us to do. If I was even remotely interested, she was like, no, you can't do that. You're gonna die. This is the fair, okay? If I wasn't afraid, she made me. So that's why it's so intriguing to me.
Yeah, it's a fair assessment too, because like at that time we were like we're in the same age group, right? So like Iraqi freedom, Afghanistan, everything is popping off around this time. The likelihood of you dying was not low.
Wow, I am so glad you made it. And we are here today in
Thank you.
2026 and we are in safer places. But you know what, though? Not really, because we could say the same thing for what we do now, right? Somebody could come in theoretically with some airborne disease and we're not peppered up or whatever, and
Oh yeah.
all kind of crazy things. And we went through that with COVID, right? We've done those things.
To your point, it didn't really change much because I'm still risking my life in certain things.
Same.
Like we both put ourselves out there.
It just looks prettier. That's it.
Yeah, that's
We
all.
got some AC and some fancy tools and
Yeah.
and good pay, but like
Mhm.
it's still a risk.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did my tour in Iraq and went back to Germany. One of my really good friends met a boy while we were deployed and she fell in love and got married. Turns out he was really good friends with who is now my husband. Yeah. So my friend sets me up with Adam on a blind date. It took a lot of convincing for her to get me to go out with him, but we did. We went out, we hit it off. 20 years later, we're still married. So it worked out. It was great. He's a really great person in general. Around that time, my contract is up. I did my 4 years in the military. I decided I don't want to stay in. I want to use my GI Bill that I got to go to school. I don't entirely know what I want to do yet, but my husband's in. He's planning to make it a career. So we get married. I follow him and we go to Atlanta, Georgia, which was awesome. I love Atlanta. And fast forward a few years, every time we move, I have to start over. I get a new job. I've done retail. I've worked in restaurants. I've filed taxes. Like you name it, I've done it. But none of it felt fulfilling to me. And actually, I need to backtrack a little bit because in the military, I did train to be a court reporter. And I did briefly start to do that as well on the civilian side, following my husband around. But every single time we moved, I know military spouses can attest to this, I had to start over, get my foot in some door, all of it. And so that became tough. And I think that's really what pushed me to go to nursing school. And at the time, it really took a lot of wrestling with my thoughts because I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I was smart enough. And with the help of family and people that love me around me, that I was able to finally convince myself, okay, this is something I can do.
Guys, listen, I was her staff when she was a resident, when she was the SRNA. And without a shadow of a doubt, it would never have crossed my mind that she would even struggle with this because she's so smart. She's so with it. And till this day, she's so organized. She's a bullet. She's sharp. I don't even know. That's hilarious to me. But it's crazy, right? This is why we're here talking about these real things. Because I'm just like, when you say something like, oh, I didn't think I was smart enough, I'm like, is this a joke?
Not a joke. Not a joke. These are real thoughts, real feelings. Oh yeah. And looking back to where I came from, it's nice to like really set the path like of how we got here because it took a lot of effort. There were a lot of blood, sweat, tears involved. And
About it.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I get into nursing school, which was great. I was super excited. This is when we were in Augusta, Georgia. And in order to finish nursing school, we would have had to extend another year for our assignment, and we couldn't do that. So my husband actually had to go to Korea for a year. So that was like one of the first times we were really separated. So he moved to Korea. I stayed in Georgia. I finished nursing school. And then he comes back and we get to go to Washington State, which was amazing. Beautiful state. If you've never been, put it on your list.
I just feel like you got all the good assignments. You start off in Germany, you head to Hotlanta, and now we're in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Who did you pay?
It's funny because at the time we didn't think we were so lucky. We kept asking for Hawaii.
And then you eventually get there, but that's more to come. It's ridiculous. I'm literally just thinking about your path right now and how we've talked about this multiple times, but now in real life, we're talking about this in sequence. I'm like, this is crazy. I hear people going to these podunk places and they're like one of like, it's ridiculous. It's scarce to see a Whole Foods or I don't know, there's no Publix or nothing. And here you are. This is crazy.
Unfortunately, there's no Publix outside of the state of Florida, I don't think. So
this is
no,
true.
I lied. There's some in Georgia now.
Hey, there you go.
Definitely not in the Pacific Northwest. And no, we loved it. We had a great time. I actually was really fortunate. I was able to get a ICU job as a brand new RN, but that learning curve was steep. Oh man. Like the things I didn't know. I just didn't know what I didn't know, but I was motivated and I really wanted to get in there and learn everything I could. And it was like addicting too when you start taking care of really complex patients and make a difference in their trajectory and their care, especially in the ICU and critical care. There's so many patients that don't get to leave there, right? Alive. Yeah. And so when you do get to do your part to make their day, even just an hour, a little bit better, it's worth everything. And so I got really lucky. I was working in a hospital in Olympia, Washington. We had a great staff, really great group of nurses that taught me so much. And the thing was that it started to weigh on me because it isn't an easy. And so I started to feel really burned out. It's a lot of heavy lifting physically and metaphorically, right? And so I think that's when I started thinking, okay, maybe I'd like to do something else. And I had read about CRNAs a long time ago and thought that was something that maybe might be interesting. And so then I dove deep into what is this? Like, how can I make it happen? And I decided to go ahead and go for it. And I decided to do it through the military. So here I go, back on active duty once again.
Hold on. How does that feel? Are you at this point like, oh my gosh, should I go to outside school versus going to USAGPAN? I know exactly what the Army entails. I know what active duty is now because you started off, was it enlisted and now you're an officer, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'd be going in as an officer. It was like a weird trajectory to figure out which route to go. I did actually apply to civilian schools, but the main reason I wanted to go in the military was because we thought maybe my husband and I could be together throughout the process. Because the civilian schools,
irony, right?
Right, the irony. I'd be stuck in some state somewhere where he probably wouldn't be able to go for 3 years. And so we thought logic was, okay, Army, maybe we can get stationed together. They really do try to station you together. And then the other part was I was reading a lot about the reputation they have as a program. And it's one of the top programs in the country. And they really aim to teach you to be completely independent as a provider, because sometimes you're literally the only one in an entire country So I thought that was pretty cool. If I'm going to do this, I want to be the best at it. And
Yeah.
so ultimately, I went all in going the military route. It was very touch and go because the process is super, super long to go back to go into active duty in general. But as prior service, like it was like a couple extra hoops. And then you got to wait. You get
Mm.
accepted. I got accepted to the school. Technically, the Army approved me to rejoin. And then you got to wait for the Secretary of Defense to sign off what they call a scroll. And what that means is like your name literally comes across their desk and they want to know if basically you're asking for permission to commission. And that can happen who knows when. And so literally week by week with my boss in my ICU, we didn't know if I was leaving. So, it'd be like, is it this week? No. Is it this week? No. So she literally had me rotating on 1 week at a time on the schedule. And then when I finally get the call, of course, Adam is TDY, which means temporary duty elsewhere, not with me. So where was he? I don't even remember if he was deployed or if he was I can't remember where he was, but he wasn't there. So I had to pack up my life
Oh my
and leave
God.
and move to San Antonio, Texas. So my mom actually came out. We made the trip together and it was a really cool experience. It took us about 5 or 6 days to make that drive. And I make it to Fort Sam and I commission in 2018. I start my officer training and school started that summer. And the Army's program is front loaded. So all the didactic was in the same place in San Antonio. And then our class got divided up to the major Army medical centers and we get sent out for our residencies there. And I was able to go to Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, because my husband was also supposed to be stationed with me there. So we get reunited in El Paso. This is where I meet Marc eventually as my preceptor. And then, of course, Adam gets deployed as soon as we get there.
Life is wild, right?
Fast forward a year, it's 2020. And Adam's actually home, but he's scheduled to deploy again and it gets canceled. So on the upside, we get to quarantine together for a few months. And then he gets rerouted. He ends up having to deploy again a couple months later. And I'm on my own for the rest of that time in anesthesia school. So then COVID really hit El Paso later in that year. Like we were really overrun. Everything was shut down and we weren't really doing OR time. So based on a number of reasons, I won't get into it on this episode, but they ended up pulling us from our program to work bedside as ICU nurses in the COVID ICU. And that was another life-changing event in my life because not only was it extremely traumatic, it was so emotional. It took me many years to get over the fact that I was pulled out of school to do this. Contractually, I was in the military for anesthesia school. But it was a weird thing, a bittersweet thing, because the ICU nurses in El Paso, shout out to these nurses because they were in the true trenches working 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts, nonstop, short staffed, completely overrun. And so to be able to help them was the upside and to be able to help some of the patients that we had. But it was really terrible because, Marc, you were there.
I remember those days.
If they came into the ICU and ended up on a ventilator, odds are they weren't leaving alive.
They weren't coming off.
No. And that was the horrible part because we'd be coding 2 or 3 patients at the same time. Like, I don't know where else you would have seen that in a smaller ICU, but that was insane. And it really did set me back a little bit school-wise, right? Because after we get pulled and go back to the OR, getting back into gear as a resident was really difficult. I did feel like it back a little bit. And like I said, I've worked through it a lot of this with my therapist now, but it was not a fun time, mostly because of the horrific cost of life. But we made it through. He got back for my graduation. I was really lucky. I got to go to Hawaii finally for my first assignment as a CRNA. Finally. No. Complain. And we go to Hawaii, my first CRNA job. Looking back, I really miss the people I worked with. We really had such a good team, such a really close-knit group of people, really intelligent people and very compassionate. And I learned a ton. You know how you get in there, it's like imposter syndrome, like for I don't know how long, but learned a ton. It was a great experience. And then we were lucky enough to be able to have our daughter out there. And that changed everything. All of a sudden, I wasn't looking at staying in the military long term anymore. I didn't want to be in any position where I'd have to be sent away at this point. And
Yeah.
so I made the decision to finish out my contract and get out of the Army. At the same time, my husband, Adam, is retiring after 23 years in the military. And we made the decision to sell our house in Hawaii, which was really, really sad, and move back to Florida.
And we didn't even get to visit. That's the part that sucked.
That did suck. But yeah, no, now we're in the Tampa area. We're a lot closer to family, which is good for our kid, which I don't regret at all. And it's really nice being close to family. And it's easier now to travel and see you and Becky and get together with our friends now that we're not so far away. But this last phase has been an interesting transition from military anesthesia to civilian in Florida anesthesia. It's a whole nother world. It was an absolute culture shock going from independent practice to the team model or whatever we want to call it. But I'm learning a lot here. I'm networking and getting to know people here. And I'm finally think I'm finding my niche. And I work as a 1099 PRN CRNA full time. So I just schedule myself around that and we're just living the life. And that's where I'm at today.
I love it. Sounds so good. And you should see their home in Florida. It is beautiful. Like her view from where you see her, what she looks at is crazy. It's so pretty.
All right. So, Marc, let's tell our audience about you now.
All right. I'm just an island boy. No, but I am though. Literally was born in Jamaica, came to the United States when I was like 5 years old, pretty sure. Moved to New York where I went to school until eighth grade. No, sorry, seventh grade. And then I started eighth grade in Florida. But yeah, started eighth grade in Florida and then did undergrad in Florida. Did a stint before I actually went to undergrad in New York again with my sister in Midtown, thinking that I wanted to go live in the big city, do a few things. And I did. I had some fun for that year. And crazy story is that I didn't even want to go to college. The only reason I came back to Florida is because my sister was leaving because she hated New York now. She got this really great job in Florida. And I was not about to pay those New York City rents, even split. I was like, there is no way. My sister was hooking me up, all right? I was living good. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this by myself. So I went back home. But the caveat was my mom said, if I'm going to come home, I'm going to have to start school if I wanted a car.
Oh,
So she got me.
yes.
So I was like, all right, I don't want to do full time. I was just like, let me start off with 2 classes. So I did English 1101 and then I did speech, I think, or something like that, the first semester. And I remember my friends telling me the reason why I didn't want to go to college because I had some friends go right after high school and they were like, oh, this sucks. You don't really love it and all this stuff. And then it discouraged me. That's why you shouldn't listen to people. You should do it yourself first. Listen to people. Listen to wise people. Listen to people that actually are older than you, not your peers.
Yeah, and it's key. Listen to people that have been through things
Wise.
similar of the things that you want to do because
Yes.
there's no sense in listening to the naysayers. You got to look for people that are actually trying to do what you're doing or
Right.
did similar and are on the other side of that.
Absolutely. So yeah, so I was just like, okay. I took the 2 little classes at my community college. I was like, fine, mom. I was like, I will do it. I need the car. You're in South Florida. This is not New York. You need a car. Public transportation in South Florida is trash. So I signed up for the 2 classes. Shout out to BC. And then I actually liked it. I had a great time. I met some cool students, fellow peers there. And then I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? To catch up, I'm going to take 6 classes in the summer.
What
I'm
a sick
crazy.
summer,
Yo, I
Marc.
have no chill. You know what's funny? Looking back at this is crazy because this is exactly my personality. This is like, you get a taste of, let's go get all of it all at once. I'm like, this is crazy. But guess what? I take 6 classes, 3 in summer A and 3 in summer B, and I ace all of them. I'm like, okay, if I can do these classes in this short amount of time and get A's, for sure I can take a full load in the fall. So I do that. And literally the year that I took off, I pretty much catch up and get back on track. So I did that. And during that time, I'm looking into what I want to do. I'm like, all right, I want to go to school. I want to do something in the healthcare field. And I knew there were some things that I thought about being a lawyer. I thought about being a few things. And I was just like, and my mom was like, why don't you try nursing? It's a good schedule. You can work 3 days. And I'm thinking, oh, 312s, that sounds real good. Great paying job. And then I always love to help people because, so to backtrack a bit, when I was in New York, my grandmother lived with us and she had a stroke. And so I was helping to take care of my grandmother from the age of probably 8 or 9.
That's a really
Mhm.
young time to be exposed to something like that. Like,
Mhm.
like, how did it change you?
It changed me, I think, for the better. To be honest, I don't even know that it really registered. I didn't process what I was doing. I just thought I was helping somebody that I loved because at this time, I didn't know her for a few years. And then this new lady comes and she's sick and she's kind and she has the best stories that she's telling me. And I learned so much from her and helping her. And I'm not really thinking, I'm just thinking I'm just getting stuff. But this whole time it was like, she's, oh, get my water. And it's like, help me get off her commode, all of these little things. And I'm just not even registering it. But I think it changed me in the sense,
That's like a huge thing to do and not an easy thing to do. It feels like natural to you.
yeah, whatever you teach kids, they just do. It's the saying, train up the child is for real. I just did it. I didn't think any different. That was my reality, right? And so it helped me to be way more responsible at that young age. And I took that responsibility into other things. And I guess that's why for a long time, I think sometimes it was hard to identify with other kids my age because I'm like, I know how to have fun and play video games, but when it came to serious things, I didn't have anybody to bounce it off of. And so I ended up always hanging out with older kids. It's always been like my brother. I had a brother that he passed away, but while he was alive, he was 4 years older than me. And I always hung out with his friends because I feel like I was a little bit more mature than my friends in a certain sense. And I'm sure that's because of what I went through with my grandmother and helping take care of her when she had a stroke.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I go to nursing. I'm like, all right, I'll check nursing out. I was like, the shift looks great. It's a great gig in the sense of I get to help people. I'm familiar with helping people. And my perception of nursing school is very different because you got to understand, before this, I'm an undergrad and I'm a front desk agent at a bougie hotel. I'm not a tech. I'm not a phlebotomist. I have no experience in healthcare and I'm just going in. So you do your first classes. I'm thinking nursing is something totally different. I'm not thinking I'm going to empty like urine and I'm not changing dressings. No way. I'm not like, what is a vent? I don't know. What is that? The blood draws, surely somebody else is going to start the IV. Whole
Oh my
clown.
god.
A clown. I'm thinking I'm passing about medications and I'm making schedules for a rehab and I'm talking to the patients and it's going to be this great thing. I'm a complete nincompoop. Like literally, my reality, the rose-colored glasses was rosy. All right,
Oh
it's
my god.
crazy. The didactic stuff for me, yeah, it was hard, but it's intriguing. I love science, right? I love the books, and I'm just like, all right, let's do it. And I get to clinical, I'm just like, nah, I think I made a mistake. This is crazy.
Yeah. I did the same thing.
But to backtrack, in the midst of all that, I knew I didn't want a bachelor's degree only. I know I wanted a terminal degree. So I needed to go into something that I loved and I would continue to grow in. And I'd heard about CRNA and nurse practitioner. So in this time, while I'm in undergrad, I'm looking back and forth at these two things, but I got to get out of nursing school first, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah, I'm in nursing school, shock of my life. And then all these other people have all this clinical experience because they were techs and assistants and
Mhm.
they work in long-term facilities and just all these things. And I'm just like, I don't know if I belong here. I was like, if the imposter syndrome wasn't real before, it is definitely real now because everybody's talking about things that they know already. And I don't know any of this stuff. Anyway, because I'm good with the books, I get through it, get to clinical. I'm just like, all right, this is a stepping stone to where I want to be. I want to do the ICU. I want to do all this stuff. And I have to get used to this stuff. It's fine. I had a little bit of taste of it, but this is just different. My grandmother was not this sick. All right. These people are sick.
Yeah.
So yeah, first start on a step down floor. And I was supposed to go into the ICU straight after nursing school, but that happened, was it the 2008 whole housing crisis and all that stuff when the economy started gone kapoots. So I graduated in 2010. So all these things are happening. And so now these jobs are scarce and I'm not able to start. So I go to the next best thing, which is a step down floor. And it's the worst floor in the hospital. It's worse than ICU. You basically have ICU patients, but
I
with step down ratios.
Yes, 100% agree. I floated a couple times and that's exactly what I had like 3 total care patients and like another like cath lab patient and no tech to help me. It was insane.
Yeah, you're everything. And this place is called, the floor I went to is called 5 Main, but they call it 5 Pain. And let me tell you something, it was painful, but it's what I needed though. I needed it.
Yeah.
If I didn't know, I needed it because I met the most wonderful preceptors, people that really poured into me like hardcore. I'm still friends with some of these nurses till this day, and they're still rooting for me till this day. They're incredible humans. And also, I had a great boss. She was tough, but like I needed that. I needed the structure. I needed to realize that this was for real. You are now advocating and in charge of someone's life. And so I really needed to wake up quick because where everybody else in my class had the advantage of being clinical, not everybody, but most people had some
Mhm.
kind of clinical background. I did not have a formal clinical background. The only thing that prepared me for this was my grandmother. So yeah, so I get into ICU finally after 8 months. And I'm like, I love this. I love the monitors. I love the pharmacology. I love the depth of knowledge that I learned in the ICU Academy. And I want to take this to the next level. And I'm just like, okay, CRNA is it. And so I'm in there and you know how it is, right? So depending on what ICU you're in, you have people like, you can't go to CRNA school until you have at least 5 years and this and that and all this stuff. I'm just like, everybody's different, guys. Some people need to be in ICU for X amount of time, 5 years, or some people can do it in 2, some people in 3. I waited 3 years because I have received an academic scholarship with the school that I went to, and then also the hospital. That was my payback. And I'm grateful that I did because when we got out of school, like I said, there was that whole economic crisis and I had a job, and all those people that didn't take the scholarship, they were threatened because they didn't have a job, and now these jobs are scarce, and it was crazy. So I felt like I totally did the right thing.
Things work out.
Yeah, things really worked out.
Yeah. Sometimes they work out the way they need to. You don't realize it at the time.
Exactly. And so I go in, did do my ICU thing, and I'm applying for schools, and I applied to a few schools. My friend and I, we applied to get in together, and we got into the same school and are like on our way. We're like, all right, bam, we're about to do this. And I go to school, University of Maryland. We go there, had a great time, great clinical experience. Then Becky and I are like, okay, we decide, first of all, let me just rewind
Like,
because
who's
Becky
Becky?
and I leave. Yeah, Becky's my wife. Becky and I leave everything we know and everyone we know to move to Maryland. We know one person, and this is my aunt, that is more like a close friend of the family for years, but she knows me as a child. I don't know her. So, like, literally, the day we touch down to go and check everything out, I don't know who I'm looking for per se. Like, I have pictures of her, but I've never seen her in real life to my recollection. And so if I meet her, she's incredible. She helps us get our apartment situated. She's take my car while I'm at work. I'm like, this is crazy. This is all, I'm just meeting this person. She's, I'll take my car, drop me off. And so
You just
yeah, it's like, all right. So we find an apartment. It's beautiful. I'm like, all right, Becky, we found a place. Cause my friend and I came up to check stuff out before we actually moved, and find a place. And yeah, the moral of the story for that small piece is that sometimes you have to do things very uncomfortable. We didn't know anyone, we didn't have much. And I just knew that this is what I needed to do. And we left, and it worked out. It was hard, but it worked out. And especially when you hear, oh my God, the divorce rate in CRNA school is high, yada, yada. I'm like, we're married for 9 months. This is crazy. And then people are like, before I got married, a few people were like, you sure you're going to CRNA school? You sure you guys don't want to wait? All this stuff. I'm just like, nah. It was the best decision I've ever made in my life is to marry that woman.
yes. You know what I was thinking? It's like you had such a similar trajectory in life as I did, but it's like you may have joined the military, but you made a big move by your nobody that you knew other than Becky, obviously. And that's
Yeah.
huge. It's scary. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't have the courage to do that.
And then, you know, it's funny. That's what I realized. I got to owe it to my mom, man. Like when things weren't right and she needed to change, and she's a strong woman, man. She'd just be like, let's go.
Yeah. What else are you
And
going
I
to do?
guess, yeah. And she was like, we're going to change it. And subconsciously you learn that stuff. Like kids just pick it up.
I do.
Anyway, so that I wasn't afraid. I was afraid, but I knew I had to do what I had to do because we'd done it so many times.
You had courage. Really. That's just doing it even while you're afraid.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so now we finished University of Maryland. I'm like, I'm going to take my first big boy job. I take a job in South Florida because I'm thinking, all right, this is where we're going to end up. I'm going to go back. This is great. But it's crazy what 3 years does. Everything changed. People changed. People that were staples there weren't there anymore. And if I'm being very honest, like people change in not good ways. Some people that we love, family included. And I'm just like, this is weird. Like, it's me. We're just coming back. And so it just was weird. And we can talk about that on another episode because we have some things coming up. But I was just like, we got to go. And then another thing was I wanted to pay off my student loans quick. And so this opportunity came up with a friend of mine that actually went to high school together. We met each other again in Maryland because she was in the reserve and her husband was active duty. Small world. It's wild. And so she invited me. She's like, hey, I'm here in El Paso. You should come out and check it out. This job is great. It's the DOD. You know, El Paso is a small town. There's not like South Florida. I think you might like it. So we go out there and I land in El Paso and it is brown. There's a lot of sand. Ain't no trees out there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
Barely any.
yeah, we literally see tumbleweed. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is a very far away from tropical, lush South Florida with palm trees that sway every day. I would just drive home from work in traffic and I'm like, I'm in paradise. Like I had the worst day ever, but like this drive is great. To sand and
Love you.
yeah, and no humidity. It's dry as a bone out here, right?
Oh, yeah.
But there's something about this place that I fall in love with. And I'm glad that I gave it a chance because I didn't even see the nice side, the valley and like the green that does exist here and the mountains and the sunsets are crazy. And I love my community and the people that I work with. I love them.
Yeah, I was gonna say that El Paso is like such a thing. Like, I think a lot of us have a preconceived notion of what it is based on movies and all kinds of stuff. But it was honestly one of my favorite assignments ever. And like the people I will remember forever. It was one of my most favorite places to work because everyone was so inviting, so friendly. We shared, like people just would bring food and there was like
Yeah.
no out there. Like it was just really cool. But on your note of a small world, that reservist that introduced you, her husband worked with my husband.
Crazy. That's the craziest part. I remember when we talked about this in the OR and then we made the connection. I was like, what? First of all, if you would have told me that I was
No way.
coming to El Paso any part in my life, I'd have been like, you're a joke. And first of all, where is that? The only time I've seen El Paso, I think, was like in a grocery store, some hot sauce or something. I remember a time that I've seen that somewhere in a grocery store, and that was it. It's like, El Paso, I don't even know where this is. And so I'm here. And then my high school friend introduces me to this job. And then now the SRNA that we hit it, you and I, that's why we met. I'm staff and we were SRNA and we hit it off. And by the way, my really good friend that gave me the connect to this opportunity is your husband's coworker and they get along very well. Like it was like meant to be.
Yeah. And I just remember Adam, he kept asking me, like, hey, there was like, this guy I work with, his wife's a CRNA. Like, I'm pretty sure she used to work at William Beaumont. Are you sure you don't know her? And I'm like, no. I think she had just left, right? I think right when you started, probably she had just left. So I never actually got to meet her until way later on. But it was just so funny how like small this world is.
Yeah. She introduced me to the place and she was there with me. I think we were together for 6 or 8 months. And then she was about to leave to go to another hospital. And I was like, it was great because we're still to this day, we're like such great friends, such wonderful people. And we can go on. I can have a whole podcast about them anyway. And then we meet and we hit it off. I'm like, this girl is amazing. She's smart. She's funny. She's normal. Like she's social. Like not that other people aren't and not that other SRNs, but I think it's because you are all in your head. And then the army's a different beast, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not like a civilian program. Like civilian programs, you have to behave yourself. In the army, you have to behave yourself like times 10.
All the time.
Like you can't breathe too heavy or else you might get
Yeah, no, and you can't look at somebody the wrong way. No, but in all seriousness,
sir. And then you guys would call me sir and mister. I'm like, it's Mark, chill. No Mr. Smith, no Dr. Smith, because
he call you Mark, and I'm like, okay, Mr. Smith.
yeah, it was so
Sure.
bizarre. I remember, and then they knew I had my doctorate, and then some of the students would call me. I'm like, guys, this is gonna be so much drama for so many reasons. It's just like, call me Mark. Stop.
I cannot call you Mark. I don't even know, you know the lectures that we would get behind the scenes. I don't care what they say. You call them by their title, their proper title. And it's a whole nother beast.
What's so weird to me, I get it, but I don't because I'm just like, these are grown-ups. And if I understand if somebody wants to be addressed in a certain way, especially if you're representing the army, fine. But like, they're grown-ups. Some of these students are older than me. And so for me, it's weird because now you're about to be my peer in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
So just call me by my name. Say my name. Yeah, but anyway, but I get it. I get it. I totally
Yeah.
get it.
It was a crazy time too, and, like, at that point too, it was, like, really strict. We weren't technically allowed to be friends, and so
Right.
we were friendly, and we got
Yeah.
along, but I think it wasn't until well after graduation that you and Becky reached out. I think because
Right.
Adam was deployed again. Right around the time I think we were leaving El Paso, you and Becky reached out. I think you took pity on me, took me out to dinner.
No, we loved you. I talk about you all the time.
Yeah, so it was something that meant so much to me because I was, again, still out there by myself waiting for Adam to get back from
Yeah.
deployment. But all that to say, too, that you were a very great preceptor because I think anybody who's been in any kind of medical training, there are some really horrible people out there. Let's just be real.
Oh, for sure. There's more horrible people, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just really sad because I feel like the whole nurses eating their young kind of thing is real and it's super unfortunate because I don't think it's needed. There's room for all of us. Somebody else wins, you win. I just don't understand that mentality, but we obviously all got to experience it and you were not one of those people. I actually remember distinctly you telling me one time that you wanted me to get a chair and sit down as a red light.
Oh my God. It's so crazy that boy, I don't remember a lot, but that's actually one of my staple things. Like, I don't want anybody standing. You need to sit down. Okay.
Yeah.
It's your brain is heavy enough right now. Your neck is probably hurting because so much information in your big old head. You gotta sit down, bro. Sit
Yeah.
down.
And it was so conflicting because I'm like, oh my God, get a chair, sit down. What?
Yeah.
Who's going to walk by and see me sitting down? Like it was intense, but
And I'd always tell people I think I'm just like, I will tell them that I told you to sit down. It makes me uncomfortable. You need to sit down, please.
oh man, those were some wild times. But yeah, so no, we kept in touch over the years as you moved around, I moved around. And then now that I'm
Yeah.
back on the coast, I think we finally were able to get the families together and hang out a few times. And we were just having these great talks, these conversations, all those topics, like just the whole preceptors being mean to like students or people or all kinds of things.
We talked about food because we love food, we love
That
travel, like all the things because if you travel, it's like obligatory that you love food. Like they
you
go hand in hand. It's
have
like
to.
this is what it is. Talking and breathing, like they go together.
Yes. But shout out to
Yeah.
Becky because she's hands down literally one of the best cooks I think I've ever met ever in my
Shout
entire
out to
life.
the wife.
Oh man,
Legit. She's
legit.
legit.
She's legit. And we would have these great discussions together and we would keep telling each other, hey, we should record this. We should totally do something with this. And I think that's what prompted us to start this podcast. So
Yes. And here we are, guys.
sure. Yeah, so this is what led us to start this podcast. We wanted to bring a community together, talk about things that we don't ordinarily talk about that need to be aired out, that need to be explored, or just could be funny or just interesting. And that's where we're at. Welcome.
Yes, we're here. We want this to be, like she said, a community, but like an open place, open discussion. We're going to be taking like your DMs. So DM us, follow us at Clock Out and Connect on Instagram, and DM us anything, any topics that you think are interesting, and in anything, like we bring it up. Like we're here. We just want to be your safety net, your community. And that goes not just for CRNAs, of course, but like for nurses, for people who want to be CRNAs, for people who are in a whole different field and you're just interested and intrigued about what we do and how we do it, and just questions that we're not even thinking about because we're on autopilot. Send it to us. We're here.
Yeah, exactly. It could be anybody in a high stress career, anybody in the medical field, anyone in the
Yes.
OR, the hospital, any of you, please welcome. We welcome it. We'd love to chat with you. Follow us on YouTube, follow us wherever you get your podcast. And we're really excited to start this journey with you.
Yes. So, would you do it again? Don't be dodging this question.
After all the blood, sweat, tears, 100% I would do it again. It obviously was a rocky road to get here. And I think it is for everybody in this career. It's not easy. And we all understand that. But it was worth everything that I went through. It's life changing, really, in so many ways. I think this is the first time I've been like really satisfied with my job. Like I actually like going
Yes, I agree.
within limits because me, I like my princess shifts. I don't like doing
That's
nights,
right.
weekends, calls, or holidays, but I get to go in and do what I love, help people, get them through a tough time in their life, whether it be a routine surgery, it's still scary.
Yeah.
And no surgery, in my opinion, is just routine. Anything can happen. But yeah, like I just, this is the most satisfied I felt professionally. And it's obviously provided me a really nice life on the outside too. And so we can't not talk about the fact that we're compensated pretty well, depending on where you live. So, Mark, how about you? Would you do this again?
I would do it again. I would sign up for the torture. I would. This has provided my family and myself and even my extended family so many opportunities. You're talking about a boy from the Caribbean, single mom. She came from a country that we didn't have much, and she did the best she could. And to think that I would be able to live the life that I live and help the people that I help, not just outside of anesthesia, but just what I do every day is wild. There's sometimes that I'm in surgery and I'm just like in the chair and it just hits me. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like right now, I have this patient's guts are open and like I have all these things making sure that this patient is stable and alive and pain free. And then they sew this patient back up and like taking a PACU and I extubate this patient and they get there and they're pain free. And it's because of what I've learned in school and the wonderful professors that we all owe it to that help us to take care of patients. This is wow, this is crazy. The fact that I'm able to do this is mind blowing. So, absolutely 100%, I would do it again. And I just want to encourage any SRNAs out there. Like, it's easy for us to say this now because we're on the other end. But if you're going through it or you're just in the beginning, it's supposed to feel the way you feel. You feel like death. You feel like you never sleep. You never have time. You feel like, if am I doing the right thing? You feel dumb most days because you're
Yes.
learning this vast thing, right? And you feel like you're giving up. You're like, maybe this is not for me. Just keep going. I promise you, we have all felt that way, majority of us. There are some ones that just sail through, but they're few far and in between. And they might have struggles in other ways. But it is very common for you to feel overwhelmed all the time that it's never going to end and maybe that it's not going to be worth it. I promise you, 1,000%, your life will upgrade so drastically. And this is not just about money, but this is about quality of life, the way you're treated, what you can do, how you can practice, and how you feel when you leave work. You truly make an impact on people's lives. It is intense, immense. Like I would do it totally again. And just to bolster what Shantall says, you can pick your princess shifts if you want. If you do want to do 24-hour shifts, like I love 24-hour shifts, you can do them. There are so many things. You can have the life you want. I promise. Just hang in there.
Yeah, it's super hard while you're in it. I remember being in the trenches, having panic attacks. Literally, have never had them in my entire life. And I'm not saying this to scare anybody, but everybody responds to the stress differently. But even having gone through all that, I'm 100% on the same page with you, Mark. I would do it again.
What I would say too, and this is a little personal, but I feel like it might help somebody out there. I didn't realize that I truly did have test anxiety. I've been on like propanolol for sure. I
Oh, me
should have
too.
been on for sure. There were times when I just didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I was just trying to survive. I was trying to get in and get out and make sure. And there's nothing wrong with getting help, whether it be therapy during or just having somebody to talk to or even medication. I wish I knew what I didn't know. I suffered. I probably was an SVT most.
Same. Oh my God, same.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I actually ended up in a point, and we'll talk about this on another episode, I'm sure, where I had a little bit of postpartum depression. And anyway, fast forward, end up on meds at some point, and I really thought, I'm like, why did I wait so long to try
Yeah.
this? It could have been
Yeah.
so helpful during school. It was insane that I just kept fighting it. And I think that's a natural response for a lot of us. You just don't know what you don't know. Yeah, that's a
Yeah. All right. So this season of podcast is going to be a roller coaster. There are going to be a lot of topics that you can talk about. We're going to laugh. We're going to get serious. Some people might cry a bit, but it's going to be encouraging nonetheless, right? What else are we going to be? What are some of the topics that we're going to be diving into, Chantel?
Oh man. So this season is going to be, like you said, like a roller coaster. We're going to be talking about our relationships during school. How it was that first year, the shock of being a CRNA, imposter syndrome. We're going to get into distrust and medicine. We're going to get into self-care. We're going to get into how this career has changed you. And we're going to get into when things go wrong in your career, when you end up trapped in a job that you didn't intend to be trapped in.
Bad contracts, it's coming.
Oh, yeah. So I think what we want to do is just open up the floor to all of the conversations that we don't think people are having, that people aren't talking about, or you don't think people are going through. I think we can all agree that a lot of the times we find that other people actually were going through the same things that we were going through. We just didn't talk about it.
And we also have an amazing lineup of guests. Some of your social media sensations are going to be joining us on this podcast to talk about finance, to talk about their experiences, talk about religion and anesthesia. It's going to be great. We got some really cool, unique topics to talk about. So there's a lot coming. Y'all stay tuned. Grab your snacks, whatever you need during the time. And don't forget to follow us and subscribe. Okay.
All right, everybody. Now that we're winding down this episode, I wanted to introduce a segment we're going to be doing called Off the Record. And what we want to do with this is talk about things literally off the record, but that you wouldn't say to anybody else, especially HR, for instance. So I was going to start us off by asking Marc.
Oh.
So what's the thing about this career that nobody told you and you still haven't fully made peace with?
Well, I did not know the political climate of this career. I had no idea and if I don't want to give too much away, but as a CRNA, whether you're working at independent, team care model, or supervision model, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know there was drama between CRNAs and anesthesiologists, and it's just all these. I didn't know. I didn't know.
No, I didn't know either. I had no clue.
No idea. That doesn't pertain necessarily to every environment, of course. The environment that I work in is very healthy as far as like CRNAs and anesthesiologists, especially in the Army. But we will touch on that more on the outside.
It definitely has a lot of weight to it. And perhaps we'll talk about it on another episode. So I wanted to throw this question out to the audience too. We want to hear from you. What's something about your career that you didn't know that you haven't come to terms with? Please email us. Email will be in the description. Catch us on Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube, in the comments. Please let us know. We would love to hear from you. And that's a wrap from us. I'm Shantall.
And I'm Marc. Thanks for clocking out with us today.
If you're thinking it, we're talking about it.
Don't forget to leave us a review, send your questions, and we'll see you next time.
Go home. You earned it.